Hello everyone, welcome to EngLang Pro's YouTube channel. If you're new here, we're a team of students who've recently completed the VCE English Language course, and we're here to support you guys through the same journey and get the most out of it. I'm Tori, by the way, sorry. Today I'm going to be running through in-depth AC text annotation of the 2022 exam, which is the exam I did. So sometimes I feel like I might be lying a little bit when I say recently completed, but I did the 2022 exam, and this is the AC text that I wrote my section B on, and today I'm going to live annotate it for you. But first, we know hopefully that context is a huge part of AC writing, and in our introduction we need to have these sort of things at the back of our mind. So a lot of you will have different memory devices. Back in my day, it was FAMS and Craft. At the moment, we've got kind of a FARMS SPCT going on. But these are some things to remember when you sit down for your exam and do your first little bits of analysis to get ready to write your introduction. So these are the first things I want to know straight off the bat when I read my background information even. Most of it you can get from the background information. And I've got a few practice paragraphs that I'll leave on this Notion for you guys to read, but we're just doing analysis today, so let's get into it. Field, function, audience, register, mode, setting, purpose, context, tenor. Oh, that's the last one. Great. Let's have a look at it now. This is the 2022 section B text. Let's read the background information together and highlight what we can from FAMS and Craft together. So, First Pitch for Kids, which is the title, is Australia's largest national youth entrepreneurship competition. Okay, so already got a bit of context. Organised and run by First Pivot, it encourages children in Australia under the age of 18 to come up with an idea and a business pitch for a business innovation or social solution. The following text is an adapted extract from First Pivot's website for the First Pitch for Kids competition. The text includes hyperlinks to other web pages that provide extra information represented by underlining. Okay, few things are going through my head immediately. Number one, they've specifically mentioned something that is not just background context, the last line. The text includes hyperlinks. So I'm considering that might be something that they want me to talk about in my coherence under formatting paragraph. So I might highlight that and just say that I should discuss this. Formatting. Great. Okay, to provide extra information represented by underlining. Cool. So website. I'm going to do a different color for our background context and information. So this is a website. Super, super important to note the setting of the text. So website. And while I'm thinking about that, I also think, all right, I could talk about conventions here. Conventions of a website. And that links to the hyperlinks as well. All right, so following text is an adapted extract from the website about the competition. So the competition, very much context-based, children in Australia under the age of 18. So this is at least some of the audience, but because it's children under 18, I might kind of query that, see how we go. Maybe they're talking a bit more to parents in the text. All right, cool. For me, I have pretty bad short-term memory. So what I like to do is first writing time, FAMS and Craft, or for us right now, it's more like FARMS, PCT. Write that in the corner somewhere and then cross it out once I know exactly what it is then. For me, I didn't bother with highlighters. I didn't want to spend any time changing colors. I just had a pen and I circled stuff. I had little lines coming out of everything with a little note, but a lot of the times it was just crossing off each one of these factors once I'd found it. So the field is in youth entrepreneurship, maybe just entrepreneurship. Field, audience, function is, so it's just an adapted extract for the First Pitch for Kids competition. Doesn't really tell me exactly what the function is. It could be referential though. Referential function. For me, the function was mostly to advertise, but under this study design, we've got Jacobson's function. So I think it's most likely to be referential. Since it's an advertisement, maybe some poetic, but we'll see that that's something that has to come in the not just the background information. So mode, we've got adapted extract from the website. So we know it's going to be, at least we're going to assume it's going to be written until we find. If it's multimodal or spoken, they usually say, so transcript if spoken, or it includes like a video link or something in this little bit of background information. So you should know the mode from this. So website is kind of setting, but also this is a bit of setting too. We're talking about a national youth competition, and it's organized and run by First Pivot. So a little bit of setting there. I might talk about this, and I'll just put a general dot because setting is a little bit of a broad one. So I'm kind of thinking more about like the fact that, first of all, it's a website. Did I say? Oh yeah, I did say. Good. So setting website, to talk a little bit about who and what. So the First Pitch for Kids competition by First Pivot. So that's something that I might want to mention in my intro as well. P, purpose. So come up with an idea and a business pitch. Seems like they're probably going to be advertising. But in order to advertise, what sort of purpose and intent? Probably some rapport building, decreasing social distance, in-group membership for children under the age of 18. This one I can't really determine just from the background information. So what I might do is actually just put a big question mark, number P, letter P, for purpose. It's a horrible question mark, sorry. So I'm going to leave that there so I remember. And this is exactly what I did when I wasn't using a mouse. I turned my touchscreen off due to some technical difficulties, so we're using the mouse. But that's what I would have done with my pen when I couldn't find something. All right, cool. SPC context, we've kind of talked about under settings. Organized and run by First Pivot. Yeah, actually, you know what? This is more context than setting, but I'm going to put it context. So this is situational context. Setting is basically situational context. And Australia children is to do with cultural context. SPC. T, tenor. So we know that First Pitch for Kids, it's a competition, and First Pivot, we don't know anything about First Pivot. So we need to kind of glean, same with purpose, about what First Pivot is kind of about, what sort of roles they have in regards to distance from the audience, and therefore what their tenor with the audience is. So relationship, or kind of vibe, so casual, friendly, but tenor goes a bit broader than just relationship. So you could kind of almost talk a little bit about, institutional, kind of getting closer. Hey, I didn't talk about register. That is shocking. Sorry, guys. Register. So basically the entirety of Unit 3 and more. Can't believe I missed it out. So the register, I'm going to probably, what I was trying to say about tenor is that it's pretty broad. You can kind of almost discuss it in line with register in terms of something being institutional, ceremonial, something. And then I would say it's an institutional formal register with a professional tenor, something like that, where register and tenor are very much interlinked, just like register and everything else. So register as well, can't really tell. It's an entrepreneurship competition. It seems like it's probably going to be more of some sort of formal, but we're not sure what kind of formal yet. So P and, this is probably just easier. P, purpose, and register. And I also want to check up on the audience again when I get into reading the actual text. So let's do that now. All right, so moving on now to the actual text. You are being called on to shape Australia's future. Are you up for the challenge? Massive introduction already. So there's a lot to say here, and I think that it's important for you guys as Year 12 students to note that you need to be talking not just in depth about features in an AC, but also breadth. So that's going to involve discussing the opening and the closing of the text as well. So these 2 lines, massive. Let's change color and see what we can find straight away. So first of all, first word, you. What sort of function is that going to involve? So you, second person pronoun, directly talking to the audience, cognitive function, which I didn't even talk about in my fabs and craft that I was doing in the intro. You have been called on to shape Australia's future. Super dramatic. Are you up for the challenge? Are you up for the challenge? Interrogative sentence type, also cognitive, directly talking to the patient. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I stuck at uni. Okay, so that's an opening that I definitely want to talk about. Very cognitive function, directly asking, calling out those young children or people under the age of 18. You're being called upon. Are you up for it? We're shining the spotlight. Okay, shining the spotlight. That's fake. They're not actually doing a literal spotlight, so it's a metaphor. And metaphors are what type of imaging? Imaging. Oh my gosh. What type of patterning? Sorry, guys. I've been at uni in the hospital too much today. We're shining the spotlight, which is what type of patterning? It's semantic patterning. So it's a metaphor. We're shining the spotlight, and then I'm highlighting all of these, and as I do, I want you guys to think, what is the purpose of this? So you cognitive, right? We're trying to directly engage the audience. Shining the spotlight, metaphor. We're trying to illustrate something for the audience. Maybe we're trying to make something more memorable for them. Think about that as we go along. Young Australian entrepreneurs who have a real passion and want to show us what they're made of. Are you a budding inventor, a quirky scientist, a creative artist, an aspiring engineer, a magical math mind, an ideas person? So, these are parallelistic interrogatives. So and parallelism is syntactic patterning. And you know what? Magical math mind is also something else. Magical math. Oh no, please don't do this to me. I don't think I can highlight both. That's okay. Magical math mind. It's all starting with the same letter, so it's alliteration. Alliteration is what sort of patterning? Phonological patterning. Cool. So again, we're kind of, now that I think about it, budding inventor, quirky scientist, creative artist, aspiring engineer, magical math mind. This parallelism, which is where parallelism is actually changing the function again to a kind of poetic function. It's rhythmic patterning. Wonderful. So there's a lot to talk about just in the first paragraph. Real passion to show us what they're made of. Young Australian. Okay, possibilities are endless. So be careful here. This is not an exclamative intonation on declarative. So have a look at the differences between the different sentence types. Be careful. Vcaa has mentioned it in previous, especially recent exam reports, that students are confusing sentence types just because declarative like this, the possibilities are endless. If you ignore this exclamation mark, the possibilities are endless. It's a declarative. An exclamation mark does not make it an exclamative. An exclamative is more likely to start with a what or how, like how beautiful the weather is. That doesn't make sense without the exclamation mark. Or what a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. It does make sense if you say it as if it were a declarative. This one, however, the possibilities are endless, is a declarative with an exclamative intonation, or exclamation, I guess. Be careful with that. And I wouldn't write it like this either, because it might come across to the examiner like you think it's an exclamative. So start with declarative with exclamatory intonation, or exclamative intonation, something like that. Great. Okay, let's move on. All right. Entrepreneurs see opportunity everywhere. Okay, nice. A problem or challenge is an opportunity to help people. Think of a business innovation or social solution that could make a difference to your community or to Australia. So this is the first of this sentence type that we've seen, I think, thus far, which is an imperative, which are interesting because a lot of the times imperatives are face-threatening acts, especially negative face-threatening acts, because a lot of the time, if you don't have that social connection with someone, telling them to do something is going to threaten their autonomy. But in this case, it's really more of a cognitive function because they're really, really trying to stimulate sort of engagement from the audience. So I'm going to think of this as more of stimulating active engagement with the, oh my gosh, audience. All right. Entrepreneurs are self-directed creators of value. All right. This is a pretty weird way to capitalize this. Capitalization. Think, why might they capitalize something that's not normally capitalized? It's basically like proper nounifying it. So adding value, I guess. Prestige, almost. So the reason why proper nouns are capitalized is because they deserve that respect. And some examples are these names. So, proper nouns of entrepreneurs, which is actually the first time I've thought of it thus far in the text. A purpose, which is to establish expertise by basically name dropping, referring to well-known cultural figures. And you can link this to cultural context of modern Australia. Cool. That value can be measured in any number of ways. Here's some dot points, so I'm thinking formatting here. For coherence. Cool. And then the goal is always for output of value, again, to be greater than the cost of inputs. Okay. Challenge is an opportunity. There's something I've missed here. Business innovation. It's not going to let me highlight. That's okay. Innovation. And let me see. Is there any other examples? Not in this paragraph, but there will be. Innovation is nominalization because it comes from to innovate. And nominalization is quite a formal word formation process. So, more morphological patterning, you could say. Word formation process. So that will help with our formality and register. And the register, because it's quite, I mentioned establishing expertise. It is very much almost institutional. They're talking about entrepreneurs, so I guess you could even go as far as to say entrepreneurial formal register. And you know what? I might change that to semi-formal later. See how we go. All right, cool. So let's leave that for now. As you go through, there's going to be times I'm going to have to come back. I'm going to read through the text again and pick up anything that I've missed a bit later. So, submit your 3-minute pitch by the deadline Sunday, October 9th. Okay. This again, sorry, the colors are not ordered at all. Imperative. Submit your pitch. Yeah. Imperative, very strict, which is why they are establishing or maintaining authority. Even though they were being kind of cute up here with like maybe a bit more informal patterning with some rhythm and poetic function, really trying to build that connection with the audience. Down here, they've kind of switched the register. They're a lot more formal here. Pitch will be judged by our local panel of entrepreneurs and business professionals. Okay, good to know. Your pitch, and again, all throughout here, we've got second person pronouns. All right, state winners will participate in our national, so will, actually, now that will is a high modality verb, meaning a high degree of certainty, which is again, certainty, again links to authority because they know what will happen, not your pitch maybe, your pitch will. So that's again purpose. State winners will participate in our national competition during the week of the 24th of October. This will be live streamed across Australia and provide viewers with the opportunity to vote for their favourite pitch. Live streamed across Australia. Bit of a weak one, but this is, again, cultural, situational context, just with, modern day and age. State winners will participate in our national competition during the week. All right, good. We'll come back to this, I think. Nothing is jumping out at me right now. We are waiting for you. Declarative with exclamation. Also, again, I'm not going to write this, but they're really being quite, stressful when they say these things. We're waiting for you. All right, here are the rules. This, again, these lines is where we have another formality shift to even more formal and even more authoritative. Authoritative, formal. My gosh, I'm so bad at spelling. Okay. Open to kids in Australia up to the age of 18. The idea and pitch must be entirely created by kids. Parents can help their kids film, keeping in mind that this is a competition for kids. So this is kind of an aside. It seems like maybe, they're not directly addressing, but it looks like parents, they have to read it anyway to let their children participate. So they're kind of a secondary audience almost. Okay. Oops. Keeping in mind that this is a competition for kids, applicants, parent / guardian, again, for applicant to electronic permission section of the entry form of the website. Individuals or teams, again, kind of non-standard spelling. This is almost in sort of a legal, if you've read any legal texts, a lot of the times they'll define certain people. So consumer, you, the consumer, refers to blah, 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 and then they'll use a capital letter. This is kind of what they're going for here. They're trying to kind of bring, again, a little bit more prestige into what they're basically making up, right? So that links as well to the purpose as well. Okay. Electronic permission section. Thinking about conventions, probably not super conventional. 2 or more members must adhere to safety precautions where applicable. Okay. Yep. So must, again, high modality verb, must be no longer than 3 minutes. We recommend that they be a maximum blah, blah, blah. Okay. So passive sentence. Or agentless passive. Submitted by who? And the best students will always pick out agentless passives and analyze them as when you don't name an actor in a sentence, such as in agentless passives, you're creating more social distance between you, especially when the actor is you, in this case, the audience. You must submit all entries online is an active form of this sentence. But when they make it an agentless passive, they increase social distance. So see how they've increased social distance when up here they were using you every second word. So suddenly they've kind of switched it up and the register is different and the social distance is different, and that's because the purpose of this section of the text is different. They're here to provide the rules. They're not here to play around anymore. They're not here to create friends with any of the audience. They've done that. They've reeled in the audience with their patterning and memory makers, and now they need to give the rules. And so here are the rules. I mean, these are all declaratives which represent the new purpose to provide, or actually the new function, I suppose, declarative function. The new declarative function, more authoritative. Great. Okay, deadline to apply is October 9th. Okay, good to know. State finalists will be notified, 7 minutes total. All right, cool. Via Zoom. Zoom is, again, kind of cultural context. So you can talk about how probably 10 years ago even, nobody would have known what this is. So this is a modern part of Australia's cultural context. The judges will pick a winner based on their objective analysis of the ideas and pitches. The audience winner will be chosen via an audience poll on Zoom/WebEx. Winners will be announced at the end of the event. And again, this is another agentless passive. Who's going to announce them? Cool. All right. Show us what you've got. And see here, then there was not a single second person pronoun in this section. So there's really been a shift because now we've got more casual. There's an exclamation mark, exclamative intonation, intonation on an imperative. We're excited to see you shine. Okay, here we've got a bunch of positively connotated. Well, excited is an adjective. No, is it? Yes, adjective. Shine, verb. Excited. Yeah. Sometimes I get confused with my word classes. Submissions close. Okay, great. Apply now. Now this is probably the hyperlink they were talking about. Something for everyone. We're putting together a digital show bag just for all participants. So you've got some goodies, vouchers, and discounts just for taking part. So something that is kind of mentioned by my colleague Sapanta. He did this exam as well. And he says this is kind of a manipulative purpose, which I like. It's quite unique. Basically, it's a bribe, right? They're trying to get you to take part because of this digital show bag. So that's kind of interesting to talk about. And let's not neglect this entire paragraph. First of all, very cultural context relevant. Also, consistency with conventions, because that is expected in any publication in Australia. So with that, I'm going to go back up the top and now I'm going to make sure I have evidence for all of these things that I've talked about. So field, this is kind of, instead of going through it now, I'm just kind of going to do spot what I've missed. So I want something about field. So field specific lexemes like problem, challenge, opportunity, business professionals, or at least entrepreneurship. So let's do different color. So this is for field. And also there's a bit of field of competition as well. So you might have judge, winners, all of that as well. So I'll put that there. Field specific lexeme. Entrepreneurs, business professionals, field specific nouns. And here in this part of the text where I'm talking about different register, I also want to talk about different purpose, or function, sorry. And because it's declarative now, they're also using different syntax. So it's very much more simple sentences in order to be very clear. There are a few complex sentences, but in general, it's very brief, direct to the point. Okay, field, function, audience. You could talk a little bit about up here with audience as well. It's very much geared towards children. So might talk about that. The audience, field, function, audience, mode. So written, don't really need to prove that. Setting, we've talked a lot about cultural context. Situational context, we should kind of mention. Oh, we talked about this, and also this is also more cultural context. So field, audience, mode, setting, register, formal, informal. More normalization examples will definitely be here somewhere. Permission, no, not really. Competition is actually to compete. Nominalization, so that's just another example I can use when I talk about normalization. Cool. What else? Analysis. Maybe there's some field-specific jargon, not really. Okay, register. Purpose, we've talked about. SPC, tenor, that's right. So tenor, I'm actually going to, when I write this AC, which I'm not going to do again, that was traumatizing enough, but I've given you guys some examples in the Notion. When I talk about tenor, I'm going to link it in with the differences in register, because when I talk about register, I'm going to talk about distance, social distance. So when they're close to social distance, I'm going to talk about the fact that they're trying to really build an in-group membership, which is a link to a purpose, or like inspire the children, and talk about how that is very much a close tenor, friendly tenor, friendly inspirational tenor. And then with the rules, it's very much an authoritative tenor, which I think, we could talk about here. Authoritative tenor. Good. All right. So that's a pretty in-depth analysis. You could go away and use this as a guide to help you write your AC, and then get that checked by your teacher. But I hope this has helped with showing you my thought process as I read through the text and kind of recognize meta language. And there's stuff I've missed out here 100%, because I'm not, locked in as much as I was in the exam trying to record at the same time. But when you have, with practice, lots and lots of practice, you'll get even better at picking out things as you read through it. And so with that, actually, I'll show you. So here are some paragraphs that you can kind of talk about. So positively connoted nouns with the goodies, vouchers, discounts. Magical math mind, cognitive and manipulative function. So yep, this is semantics. And here we talked about, so passive voice, nominalization, very much connotative second person pronouns, parallelism, rhythmic. So, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Haven't seen anything I've missed just yet, which is great. Okay, cool. And then let's see, did I miss anything? Cool. Yeah, persuasive tenor is, so my colleague wrote this, so I'm just checking to make sure I didn't miss anything in my analysis, but utilizing a persuasive tenor. So you could say persuasive. Here's a register purpose paragraph, bonus paragraph from Zapanta. So we'll leave this in the description box below for you guys to read through and see how I've taken the examples that I've picked out. And by we, I mean my colleague. And then created written AC paragraphs. So I hope this has been helpful. I've enjoyed this little trip down memory lane, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.